Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. In this episode we are working on the water system. Alright guys, so ran into another issue. Anyway, so with this all put together, it's not bolted on. I have to make a custom line like this because this thing's supposed to go right into deep in there, and then it's supposed to go right here, and it hits everything right here. And this is my intercooler water line that splits into 4 different directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it goes in the back of the block, and then it goes all the way back here and then back into the radiator. So to make this work, I need to basically make a new line. So I put everything back on the intake manifold, the fuel rail, and so my idea is run this thing, take it, cut it up, re-weld this whole thing, and have it run right above here. So I'll have it maybe bolt onto these bolts, and so it's just gonna basically just run like this. That way it's gonna be out of the way. Well, I'm planning to put a giant hood scoop because a lot of the stuff's not gonna clear. So anyway, so the plan is to cut all this up. I got a second one right there from the yellow Audi, which I'm gonna use as additions. So I'm gonna use that for basically cut that and add on to this. And the idea is to have all this done today. So I can't have this engine started, I can't move on with it, because to bolt this on I have to get deep in there and bolt onto right next to this piece right there. That's where it bolts on. So I'm gonna work on that and take this apart, start mocking things, start cutting it, welding it, and hopefully it works out. And as far as I'm thinking is that's the only issue I ran into, connecting stuff, because the wire harness is on besides this fuel injectors. Also I got my fuel lines that I need to tap, so I'm gonna use some of these and clamp them down. I'm gonna basically take this fuel feed line and then I'm gonna run it as low as I can so you don't see the clamps, and have it clamped down below. So I'm gonna mark that off too, have that figured out. Figure out my return line. Well, my return line, it doesn't have a special connector, so I'm gonna take this off, cut this one to size, clamp it down, call it good. So for the most part, the engine, the wiring is done, except this is the sensors and all that fun stuff. So yeah, I want to get this done, and as I'm working on stuff, I'm getting another list of things I need to get done. So I need to ground the engine because I don't have it grounded, and then new battery grounds, because my battery ground used to be right here and I cut it out. So I'm thinking is I'm gonna weld in something on this side. The idea is to build like a covering right here, so when you open the hood it's just gonna be this beautiful black cover. But that's later in the episodes. Right now my main priority is to figure out this water system. some of you guys wondering if I'm using the radiator, or what radiator I'm using. I'm using the stock 944 radiator. So because it's already bolts on and everything, and I'm gonna use the sensor, try to figure that wiring out. So we'll get into that later. My main concern right now is get that figured out and get the wires hooked up and start this engine. All right, so I created this elbow, cut that piece, this pipe into pieces, and then I had to trim down this piece right here. But so this part's done. I'm gonna put the intake manifold back on, and then I just tacked it for now. I'm gonna continue building, and then once I build everything, I'm gonna take it all apart and then weld it all up. So this is what I got so far. So I'm gonna have this hose come out right here, just go on there. Everything's tacked in. I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna cut this one out. I'm gonna relocate this one because I need this one for the turbo, which used to come out this way. I'm gonna rerun it into the back of right here, or right here somewhere. So I'm gonna weld it, this thing, just cut it off and weld it over here. But so far it looks good. I'm gonna take it all apart and then weld all the way completely around. All right guys, so I got everything welded up. So I relocated that thing from here to there. Cut out all the brackets because they're useless, and we're gonna add some new ones right now. But for the most part, this is what the whole pipe looks like. So I'm gonna put it back on, bolt it down, and then see where I can add brackets. Check it out. So put this thing back on, put the intake back on. I built a bracket right here. I kind of welded it, but I gotta take it off and completely weld all the way around. So the way this bracket's gonna work is I got a bolt right here, and then it also gonna bolt right here where the original, where it's supposed to bolt down. But I had to make like a two-piece bracket because the intake has to come out before this comes out. So I can unbolt this, and then the intake can come out. Also, I made another bracket right here, and this one gets bolted out over here. I tacked it, and so for the most part, that's how it's gonna be. I'm gonna take it all apart now and completely weld everything around, clean it up, and give it a little spray job. It is everything's welded up. I'm gonna give this thing a little quick paint job, and then while that's gonna dry, I broke one of these things. This thing right here, plastic cheap crap. I'm gonna have to replace this, and then for the most part everything can start going back on. Alright guys, so I got this thing painted. I'm gonna let it dry. So we're gonna give it a day. Then I also got this replaced, and I welded in my ground bolt right there, and I also grounded the engine to the frame. So that's done. So basically all I'm waiting for is this thing to dry, and once it dries I can start putting this whole side back together. For the most part everything's connected. I got this hose right here connected, and this one's gonna go right into that piece right there. But yeah, so I'm gonna let it dry and then come back and then start putting all that back together. Alright guys, that is it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you let me know down below. And if you guys want to see more, make sure you subscribe, because this build is continuing and it's getting a pretty good progress on it. Also, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. That's where I post a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of little sneak peeks of what I'm working on currently, not editing my episode from 2 weeks ago. And so yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a great day.